brought to us by Rujiet. You guys have probably heard of Viagra or Cialis before. Maybe you've even tried it. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rujiet Ready. Rujiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rujiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast. On average, in just 15 minutes, effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. Head to Rujiet.com/LockedOnNFL and use LockedOnNFL to get 15% off today. That is Rujiet. RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL and use promo code LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing reviews. Please visit Rujiet's websites for full safety information. So yesterday, right before the show started, we got news that the Browns had cut Ogbo Okoronkwo, and it made me think, let's go back and look at Andrew Berry's free agent track record, because the three big free agents they signed in the summer of 2023 were Tomlinson, Juan Thornhill, and Ogbo, who are all no longer part of the Browns. So I figured we'd go back from the start of Andrew Berry's tenure. What do you say?
It's good morning, good afternoon, and good night. That's what you call a three-pitch strikeout.
Yeah, it's not pretty. So we're going to go back. We're going to run through all the free agents that Andrew Berry has signed. Let me run through the whole list, and then we will discuss Andrew Berry's propensity to hit on some of these free agent contracts. Back in 2020, there were more than just these five guys, but these were the five biggest names they signed in 2020. It was Austin Hooper, Jack Conklin, Case Keenum, Adrian Claiborne, and Andrew Sendejo. In 2021, they signed John Johnson III, Tack McKinley, Troy Hill, Malik Jackson, and Anthony Walker Jr. In 22, it was Jakeem Grant, Taven Bryan, Corey Bojorquez, Chris Hubbard, and Josh Dobbs. I hear G. Bush deep breathing, heavy sighs, which is appropriate for these back and forths. In 23, they signed the three guys I just mentioned, Tomlinson, Thornhill, Ogbo, Mo Hurst, and Marquise Goodwin. Last year, the free agent class was Jameis Winston, Zadarius Smith, Deonta Foreman, Naheem Hines, and Quentin Jefferson. And I put this year's guys on the list. Obviously, we have no idea how they will pan out, but Tevin Jenkins, Malik Collins, JTS, Cornelius Lucas, and Jerome Baker. I did some math, and I hope my math is right. I was going over Spotrac and over the cap, so I hope it's right. But since between 20 and 2023, so the years that we have his start to the Tomlinson, Thornhill, Ogbo class, the Browns signed 12 free agents to multi-year deals. 8 of those 12 were cut or traded before the deals expired, and only Jack Conklin and Corey Bojorquez re-signed after their initial deal. So, guys, that is Andrew Berry's free agent track record since taking over as general manager of the Cleveland Browns. G. Bush, when you see it laid out in front of you like that, what say you?
Nasty work, bro. The nastiest work of all time. This is wild, man. I was just going back through them names. Andrew Sendejo. He was a meme in 2020. He was a meme. Get him out. He was a meme. These guys, think about this. We talk. Look at this. Austin Hooper would catch 2-yard passes and fall down.
Wide open trip, fall down. He forgot how to run.
Adrian Claiborne, I don't think played 4 or 5 snaps. They paid Case Keenum $8 million, right? They paid him the highest money of all time.
Highest paid backup quarterback in the league.
And when Baker Mayfield needed to sit down for two games because his shoulder was falling off, they wouldn't put Case Keenum in a game and paid him $8 million. This is wild work. Jack Conklin missed a lot of years. Can we go to 2021? This is easy. We can just go right along. John Johnson, I thought he was the worst signing of all time until they got Juan Thornhill. Tack McKinley, Troy Hill, they got him and then traded him back where he came from in like a year. Malik Jackson, come on, man. Anthony Walker was the best move out of that move, but he was giving you 6 to 8 games and leadership in nice suits. That was it. 2022, let's keep it pushing. Jakeem Grant never played it down for us. Not one. He tore his ACL. Taven Bryan, they tried to start him at defensive tackle. I did one funny meme on the barbershop, and my mom said, you got to take that down. She said, you're ruthless. Listen, he was on bended knee. I had Boys the Men playing in the background because that's how often he was getting destroyed up front. Boyorquez, he's been pretty good.
Great sign. That's the second best signing of his tenure.
But anytime your punter is that good, you're telling me what your squad is. Chris Hubbard was unplayable at times. Josh Dobbs, they got him on the squad, traded him 6 times. I don't know if this is keep going. 2023. I told Earl, I told everybody here, we need to be, listen, I'm going to take shame on me for this. This is on me. The fact that we was amping up Dalvin Tomlinson.
Remember that?
The fact that we had Dalvin, the best free agent signing we have is under radar. He had 3 sacks all in one game against the Cardinals, and then that was it. He's a nose tackle. Juan Thornhill, we already know what that is. Obo Akaranko, here's what I can say about him. At least he was a tough SOB. He was really tough. He played with a torn pec or a torn shoulder or whatever the case may be, but we didn't get the production. Mo Hurst, I liked him. He got hurt halfway through. Marquise Goodwin didn't really play for us either. He got injured. This was crazy. And what is it? Last year? Is this 2024? This one is. Zadarius Smith, they had to move him in the middle of the season. He was good about being in his gap.
He gave us great sound bites and the Pittsburgh win in the snow.
Highs and the lows and 900 yards he threw against the Denver Broncos. Deontay Foreman is a fullback, and they had this man returning kicks for him. Returning kicks. Naeem Hines, we ain't see him at all.
No, he's
Jason.
on a milk carton.
So that's all, 3 returners. Goodwin, Hines, and the other kid, Jakeem Grant.
Yeah.
Never, ever touched the field for you. And Quentin Jefferson was so bad that they just was like, listen, we can't play you in the middle of the season. This is the nastiest work I've ever seen. And by the way, when you combine this with the misses in these drafts, with the Jed Wills and the Perion Winfreys and the Tommy Togiais and the Siaki Ikas, this is what playbook do you have? You have nothing to stand on. And don't you come at me and say, G-Bus just wants to be super negative. You give me a comment and a rebuttal. You can't rebuttal this. This is nasty work.
Well, the worst news is he's safe for next year. We're told that he's cool. It's good.
And he's going to use your 2 first-round picks, the ones that you covet and you love, and you should rightfully so. He's going to use your first-round picks to go buy an old broke-down Chevy. No. You think you want him picking your quarterback? He's going to decide.
I actually have, I think, a different view on this than. First of all, Mike, I think you missed some guys. I don't think you got them all. Well, I know you don't have postage. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, so they're more than just.
Was he a trade from Seattle, though?
No, he was a signing. Because I talked to him. He picked Cleveland because of the strength and conditioning staff and because of Callahan.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to come here and work with Callahan.
So full disclosure, I made these yesterday. Then we talked about that on the show yesterday, and I forgot to go add him back.
But
so
then
Poach,
also,
are there others that he's missing?
Yeah, I remember.
Poach is in there.
Here's the name that will.
Like
you want G. Bush's head to leave his shoulders? Malik McDowell.
Oh yeah, you left him off. Oh my
listen,
God.
no, there's more than 5 per year. I just picked 5 that I thought had
I mean, you got to include Malik McDowell. He was running naked from the cops.
Bro.
I'm unfamiliar with that story. That was pre-me being in Cleveland.
No. Wait, maybe it was. No, it might have been. Yeah, it was. It was before you got here.
He had a good year, and then
he had an okay year.
And then he was naked around the
Then
cops.
he went bananas.
I don't remember.
He literally was running from the cops with no clothes.
Like,
is this like, should I look it up?
Go ahead. Yeah, look it up.
Was he here?
Look it up. It's a real story, Mike.
Was he here at the same time as Perion Winfrey?
No, Winfrey came after.
Winfrey was a
McDowell
draft
was
pick
first.
after, and everyone was like, can you take a defensive tackle with character issues after Malik McDowell? I wasn't quite sure.
You remember, you're right.
Yeah.
Character issues of McDowell.
Well, and then Mike Hall, I mean, it was a draft pick too, but
McDowell was the second-round pick of Seattle.
He went to Michigan State.
He went to Michigan State,
Yes,
and I think the Seahawks took him.
Yeah.
cut
Oh,
him.
my God.
Yeah.
There's video of this.
there is video.
It's not safe for work. Don't look it up.
Yeah,
for work.
don't be looking at that video.
I'm on a KYC website on KYC Wi-Fi.
You're fired.
I'm about to watch this video.
You're fired.
Listen.
No, you got to watch it for work. I mean, you can
Yeah,
prove that that's
listen.
work related. You don't see anything other than him naked running from the cops.
But am I being too hard?
Well, here's the
No,
thing.
you're not being hard enough. I'll tell you why later. But I think you're about to go easy on him.
Well, I am more concerned with the draft history
I
than
am
the free
too.
agent history.
I am too.
The
That was
free
my point.
The free agent history,
It's hit or miss.
This is crazy. Hold on, Jason. I'm sorry. I'm watching the video. This is This is absurd.
Yeah, only in
He's
Cleveland.
naked in the street.
Only in Cleveland, Mike.
Only in Cleveland, bro.
He's literally naked walking up to the police officer saying, come arrest me, come arrest me.
Yeah, we got stories
Yeah.
like that. We got stories.
Multiple.
We got you name the
And you know what?
scandal, and we've got it.
And I think that, like, I don't want to make light of it because I do think that there's mental health.
Oh,
No
there's
question.
definitely- no
100%.
question. No
Because
question.
I actually really enjoyed talking to him. Like when he was here,
He could play.
I had some good conversations with him. And then obviously, like there's some stuff going on there. And I don't want to make light of it, but it is funny when you
Did
talk
not
about
mean
the
to cut you
Browns.
off, Jason, so finish your draft.
Well,
point.
no,
I'm sorry.
my only thing is like in free agency, you're shopping in the scratch and dent aisle. You know, like there ain't no
Yeah.
warranty. It's as is.
99% of the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are big fish out there
But
that
if-
are can't misses.
Well,
No, there are. There are guys that have
Well,
changed teams in
Javon
free agency.
Hargrave was considered a can't miss that same 2023 year where the
Right.
Browns ended up with Tomlinson, and he's been horrific in San Francisco too. So it's not always.
typically if
But
they're
there
available,
are guys
there's
that
a
have
reason
moved
why.
in free agency and have had amazing years after they moved.
But it's very few and far between. And I'll consider like I think Obo was a hit. Yeah, he was hurt. You can't worry like
I can't
you can't
call
help
that a
the
hit.
injuries. Why not? He was productive for 2 years.
No, a hit is a regular contributor.
He had 7
that stays
sacks
on the
in 2
field.
years.
Yeah, that's
Well,
just.
he's a
that's-
regular contributor.
Yeah.
That's what he was. Like that's what you
I need
but
more
this
than
is
that.
what you're getting in free agency.
Yeah.
Like some of those other names are horrendous. Yes.
Yeah, like-
See-
but if you can get one Jack Conklin who we all laughed at the extension and now thank God they signed him to the extension because they
Yeah.
need him. But if you can get one Jack Conklin in a free agent class, that's a win.
Yeah, but that's one that he's had in 5 classes.
And then he had listen,
Pochich and Bjorkes are the three.
Postage, Conklin,
Bjorkes, Conklin.
Hooper filled a need for a year. But yes, but
he was
this is
never the guy that he was in Atlanta.
But this is what you get. Like free agency is. I said this yesterday. Free agency is to make up for the mistakes that you make in the draft
Yeah.
until you can then rectify it with another draft pick. Free agency is in the NFL is never supposed to be the
No,
end all be all.
I'm with you on that piece of it, but Jay, when you look, so that's a puzzle piece. That's one piece of it. When you look at the whole picture, I'm going to really, really piss you guys off, but I'm going to go there. Okay, it's 3 things. It's the players that you draft. It's the players that you sign in free agency.
then
And it's also the players that you trade, but more importantly, it can be the players that you let go. And now I'm gonna really dive into something, and you already know where I'm going. What is the most important position in all of sports?
Only Jay can take a conversation
You
about
bet.
free agency.
You know why?
And bring it back around to Baker.
Here's why. It's part of his Browns
resume.
Of course
And I'm
it
putting
is.
it first line,
Of
and I'm going to
course.
tell you why. Most important position in all of sports is quarterback. Who's the best quarterback in football?
I mean, there's
It's still Mahomes to me.
Okay, I agree with that. I want to read you guys something. These numbers are comparisons. Baker Mayfield to Patrick Mahomes the last 2 years.
Who was the vice president that went quail hunting and shot a guy?
This is Dick Cheney.
Cheney.
Yeah.
Jay is Cheney. Free agent. Free agent.
Yep.
Free agent.
Yep.
Baker.
Boom!
No, hold on. Hey,
And listen, I'm over the target, and you guys know it.
Hey, listen.
Listen to these
Go ahead.
numbers.
Go ahead, man.
Passing yards, last 2 years combined. Baker 8,500, Mahomes 8,100.
Okay.
Passing touchdowns, Baker 69, Mahomes 53.
Okay.
Completion percentage, Baker 67.9, Mahomes 67.3. Interceptions, 26 Baker, 25 Mahomes. Passer rating, Baker 100.7, Mahomes 93. We can moan and complain all we want about his absolutely horrific drafts. We can also bring up the fact that his free agents aren't exactly overwhelming. But to me, the elephant in the room will be, and always has been, the organization's decision to move on from Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson. So by these numbers, what I've just displayed is the guy that we universally agree is the best quarterback in football has been outplayed the last 2 years by the guy we got rid of so we could get a guy who is the historically worst quarterback in the NFL.
The trade didn't work. Nobody's going to
It
argue
didn't.
that.
You can't
But
just say it didn't work. That's like saying the parachute didn't open.
they had-
hey, the parachute didn't open. What happened?
They had to move on because Baker is never going to take a team to a Super Bowl, and I will die on that hill until
You know
he
what?
does.
He's a hell of a lot closer than anybody we have
But
right now.
until you get a guy that you believe can take you there,
So
So
it's
you
not
blow
good enough.
everything
So-
up. Let's
Yes.
trade the guy that we don't think can
So-
get us there
Yes.
for a guy who will end up being the worst signing in the history of the NFL.
Nuggets over the weekend, G. Bush went slightly.
I don't know how this guy has a job.
G. Bush was slightly viral because someone said and put it down. I said Kevin Stefanski has not produced and developed the quarterback not once. People got all mad and upset because I said that, right? Now, we got two people right here that are corroborating the evidence. The evidence is, I said it. I said, listen, Baker Mayfield's playing the best football of his career right now, and it's not in Cleveland.
Yeah, no.
That is a bona fide, you cannot argue that. Deshaun Watson, the trade did not work. We can all argue that, right? My thing is, I bring this all back to square center in the free agency of Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. They got work to do this year, man. They got, this is, we're showing you their resume day in and day out. It's not a winning resume.
You know, I would slightly disagree with he hasn't developed any quarterback.
I'm
line.
looking for him.
Because when Baker was here and took us to the playoffs, we all thought, well, there he is. Did you not think that Baker Mayfield was the answer at one point?
I did.
Okay, so you got to give Stefanski credit for that.
But here, I can also give Kevin Stefanski credit for shadow realming the situation. Baker and Stefanski did not get along. It was they did not get along.
Is that true, Jay? They did. That makes it sound like they didn't like one
that
another.
relationship imploded after he got hurt, and Baker said, "I'm playing." Kevin Stefanski was like, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna show you."
You know, I think if that's the truth, it probably happened in Pittsburgh when Baker was getting blasted. One play after another, and his head coach was just nodding at him when he came in,
and Baker
didn't slide a tight end over there.
And Baker said, "I mean, we got TJ Watt over here on our rookie, and
we might want to do something about that."
Now, look, I'm just saying, they didn't like each other. Didn't seem like they got along.
I don't know that that's true. I would love to know the truth about that. I don't know.
Now Jason is sighing. Now Jason sound like me over here.
Is Heidi Watneyville yet? Is she on? Can you call
She's not
Heidi?
here yet. I'll
tell you that. That's a major upgrade from what we're. That's a major upgrade from what we're dealing with.
Hey, I tell you what.
Do you guys know Cleve TA on Twitter?
Yeah.
So this kind of came up. This whole idea to go back and look through all of this was after Ogbo got caught. I was talking to Cleve TA. Great dude. If you don't follow Cleve TA on Twitter, you really should. One of the best analytics guys, not just in Cleveland, but does NBA draft stuff, NFL
I don't understand what he does for a living.
Really. He made his own analytics website.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we were going back and forth, and I mentioned, I'm going to look through this. I'll let you know what the hits are. He goes, do the Browns. Let me know what you see. But I bet if you do this for all 31 NFL teams, it'll be a lot fewer hits than you expect. He's like, I'm not saying the Browns are
sort of
up
my
there,
point.
but he goes, there's a lot fewer hits. So
You don't build your team through free agency.
Yeah.
You take them from good to great.
Exactly.
You can fill in the pieces, but you're backfilling. It's not like the draft.
We did the Browns, and I mentioned that the three best I could find were Pocic, Conklin, and Bjorquez.
Yeah.
And if you want to throw Mo Hurst in as your fourth, because technically he did re-sign again, and he was productive as a third or fourth defensive tackle. And Cleve was like, yeah, that's grim. That's grim. He's like, I'm not going to ask you to do it for the other 31 teams because I know you have a life. I guarantee they're not as high as you think they may be.
Sure.
But that is a list of a lot more misses than hits on Cleveland. So
yeah.
I don't know how it compares. I don't have the exact
I
number
would tend to think that he's right.
And when you don't have first round draft picks, like the Browns have not had, and you miss on the guys that you do pick, and you're missing at that rate for free agents, and you're not developing anybody, you're screwed.
You're missing on all angles to make your team better.
You're not. That's how you miraculously look up one day and say, "Wow, how did we go at 3-14?"
You're right, 100% right.
Because have you seen our receivers? Have you seen the different defensive tackles that we got coming in and rotating out and haven't given us anything? I remember all back in 2020, and this is how fast life comes at you. we talked about how much of a window the Browns had. You talked about, okay, they looked like they had found Baker. That Nick Chubb was in his complete prime. You're like, wow, this is great. Miles Garrett,
on defense.
prime.
Yeah.
Denzel Ward, prime. You saw all of those pillars. Joe Batonio was still a young guy. You look like you found Teller out of nowhere.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you look up, 5 years goes by, and you're talking about a youth movement.
I love what you said. Life comes at you fast.
Comes at you fast, man.
That's it.
Find you a quarterback, man. Find somebody. Play these young dudes.
We had one. We had one who's outplayed the universally agreed upon best quarterback in the NFL.
How long you been sitting on them stats, Jay?
Well, I've been waiting for the right opportunity to use this. It's like when you play
I saw that
poker.
graphic on Wednesday, and I said Jay's going to use this on the show.
When you play poker, you look at your hand. You're like, hey, I'm going to sit on this for a minute.
We got 2 pair. We had 2 pair in the offseason. We had nothing for that.
Nothing.
Before
And then
Jason-
just when the game starts to get a little interesting, you go, boom!
Jesus, take the wheel.
Before